Hey Facebook friends, I have a low network connection. Okay, 4D Wargaming, the deep state. The deep state. Getting ready to go. We're going to the park. It's Christian's on. Baby Caleb is teething and he finally just went to sleep. You can hear him snoring. Who is that? Steven. Man, you can't read. Apple. By the way, what kind of fruit is organic? Apples. Right, but we got pretzels in there, so that's not.
Who's on the phone?
Who's on the phone?
Yeah.
It's a live stream. It's a stream. It's Steven Hopwood is watching. Say, hey, Steven, what's up, man? Hi, my name's Christian. Christian learned how to play baseball yesterday. Right, he hit the ball lefty and righty, and I videoed it. It was awesome. And I basically took a piece of PVC and put it into the ground as a T-ball. So that was his first time swinging a bat, and he was doing super. So okay, the topic at hand is that we are in Babylonian captivity, right? So you know, you gotta speak the truth, and we should use the biblical truth. So to get into 4D gaming, as opposed to the nonsense, like if you listen to mainstream media at all, and all of the stuff that they focus on, right? Because they're wargaming, but it's a live action role-playing event. They know that they collectively represent Pharaoh, which means man's rule, which means vanity, which means that it's a society which is based, it's got its foundation in sand. Joshua Hackett, what's going on, my brother? So if you believe there's a creator and that we are all God's children, our Heavenly Father loves his children in the same way that I love my children, my boys. I'm willing to die for my boys. If there was, somewhere where I could go and say, hey, I'm willing to be a human sacrifice, to self-immolate, whatever, and I knew that would free my sons from the $80,000 in debt slavery that allegedly, under the Babylonian system, where we the people create law, under humanism, that debt stands and it doesn't go away. However, in 4D chess, in the spiritual world, in the world where the pen is mightier than the sword, in the world where ideas can bring down the whole house of cards, because the whole thing is just a confidence game. The entire system is just a confidence game. Because it's built upon man's morality. So therefore, it's guaranteed to collapse from the get-go. As soon as man starts saying, we the people, we're going to make the laws, and we can partake of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thereby becoming gods, because the gods, whoever thinks and says, or whoever the majority of people obey, they are the gods. So we say that we're Christians, or we say that we're monotheistic Hebrews, but we don't live that reality, because all of us, including the Jews in captivity in Rothschild banker Israel, they are debt slaves also. So all of humanity has been enslaved in debt by the same cabal which rules out of Jerusalem, just as it was prophesied in the New and the Old Testament, that an imposter would come in, usurpers, Babylonian confusion would put a false king on the throne, just like Herod, who said he was a Jew, but he wasn't a Jew, right? Who obeyed the traditions of man instead of the law of Moses. This is the foundational lessons of the Bible, the simplest stuff, that the king, the creator, the king, and the king alone creates law. Right? So within that realm, the realm of miracles, the realm of anything's possible. In that realm, when you get your mind right, you can conceive it. And what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Albeit, we can't do it by ourselves. We have to do it as an organized exodus. So under 4D chess, just like in the New Testament, they were in captivity to the Romans, which is just another version of man's law. That's all that's going on. It's various iterations of man's law. Babylon, man's law. The Philistines, might makes right. But the anointed Davids, they defeat. Right? So the Bible is a history of common farmers overcoming overwhelming odds because they chose not to fight in their own strength and their own wisdom and their own morality. They chose to resist by obeying Yah to the exclusion of all other morality. And in doing so, that is the ingredients for the divorce of Pharaoh. And that divorce is necessary. That divorce, that complete and total divorce, is necessary for victory, for release from captivity, because it's that bride who is eligible to be married, because she has broken the bonds. The bonds that we break on earth are broken in heaven, and the ones we break in heaven are broken on earth. It's something close to that. The point being is, our Messiah paid that debt. The debt that you read about in Deuteronomy 28, under the curses and the blessings. So I know that this is alien to, because this is all alien to me 10 years ago when you know, they were passing the bank bailout stuff. I didn't know about the Federal Reserve and the 9/11 truth and all that stuff yet. 10 years it is now. 11. The point being is if you study and you study and you study and you seek and you seek and you seek, our Heavenly Father wishes to be with His bride and dwell among His people in the same manner that He did in the garden and during the Exodus, in the wilderness, the temple, first temple, Jerusalem, right? When the Ruach was poured out at Pentecost, at the hour of incense, the third hour of the day, 9 a.m. So, as soon as all of us get on the same solution track, which is really just be Amish, copy the Amish. As soon as all of us get on the same solution track, which is really just be Amish, copy the Amish. As soon as all of us get on the same solution track, which is really just be Amish, copy the Amish. As soon as all of us get on the same solution track, which is really just be Amish, copy the Amish. right? It's not a technological challenge. It's a spiritual. To be willing to go all out and become monotheists, radical monotheists. So that is the lesson. So the challenges are, so you're like, okay, what does that mean on the daily? Like what? Yeah, it's like, so macro scale. So if you on the macro, you use the word strategic, right? Strategic planning. Whereas on the local scale and wargaming planning, the micro scale, you have tactics. And tactics get down to like in a military sense, it gets down to like habits, training, regimen, discipline. So how does one acquire that? Like what's the details of that part? Again, it's like being like the Amish and setting up mutual aid or thousands of mutual aid societies. So these are all things that we can be implementing right now with nothing at all to stop us. And then in getting more Amish-like and self-sufficient, we can set up our own economy that's local and independent and immediately puts everybody to work. Everybody to work. And as our brother's keepers, we to live in the kingdom where Yah dwells among us, we pay a tithe to take care of the widows and the orphans. And just like the Amish live without mortgages and the same amount of debt slavery as we do anyway. And once you're self-sufficient and you can take care of everybody just by trading skills, trading our commitment to care for one another, to care for the veterans that have pensions, that can't buy medicine because we're setting up our own economy. So effectively down every single supply chain that's required, just think of a military supply chain. The majority of the support is all on the back end management side. But people do those jobs already. Generally. It's just that they're doing it on behalf of some, this international Babylonian system where man has built a tower as a monument to itself, deluding the people into, once again, the same thing that happens over and over again, is that we're the king, we're the wicked tenants. Read the parable of the wicked tenants. So what is Yah to do? And if we get in alignment with what Yah wills, which is to obey the feasts, because Exodus and Passover trump Exodus and Passover trump Easter. So this is also doable, This really is. Because it was doable in history. There's historic precedent. And it'll get, every community, because they want to be self-sufficient, be learning how to farm from our grandparents. Right? start having more kids. That's the daycare, right? Give everybody a job, get everybody happy and communal, and not driven by the money system, rather driven by love and commitment, that we are our brother's keeper, and that we'll do it charitably, not through force of socialism. You know, just again, like the Amish or American Indians, before alcohol and porn and gambling, before the synagogue of Satan domesticated that beautiful race of human beings, the American Indian. It's so interesting. Like now, when I watch westerns, I've gone. What's that movie? Dances with Wolves. You know what I'm talking about? Dances with Wolves, where the colonel was suiciding himself at the end of the Civil War. He rides the stallion across the battlefield and just relaxes his body, waiting, giving the Confederates a good shot, because he was so suicidal, lost his spirit. Well, he regained his spirit when he went tribal, because tribalism beats globalism. Tribalism beats nationalism. Tribalism is our natural, God-ordained unit size. Tens, 50s, hundreds, and thousands. Our Creator engineered us as engineering marvels. So his plan is to remarry his bride. That's a fact, right? So anything that's going to get in the way of that is going to suffer. Individuals, families, nations, communities. And the communities right now, because of the money system, are embracing the Sodom and Gomorrah morality with drag queen story time and all that nonsense, right? That's a real thing. There's Christians in this community which are protesting, and it's like a big news thing. So the reason why wargaming is important is that I really honor that those men, those Christian brothers of mine, are going and representing our Creator and reminding people of basic history that Sodom and Gomorrah and that whole feminist agenda is the sign of a collapsing society. So that can be, most human beings, when you talk to them and like grown-ups, they recognize the truth in that it's a historic fact, not just a biblical fact, that societies that embrace cultural Marxism are on the brink of collapse. So for every action there's a reaction, and Yah's reaction to all of this wickedness, where man has done everything that defined good and evil in his own mind, and just like it's like the story of Babylon in Genesis. Everything that was in his imagination, we've imagined vain things. The vanity is where we become God and we create life, and transhumanism and all of that. That's what all of this stuff, that's what the Constitution is. It's just political science. The science of slavery. So in our communities, there are families that have children who realize and see the wave of rebellion. The wave of rebellion which has overtaken our societies. I'm going to start running. The steering's off on this, so it's a struggle. So, all right, I'm going to tie this up so I can run. Yahweh, a long time ago, promised that if we rebelled and became evil, an evil bride, a whoring bride, that he would divorce us and he would sell us into slavery. He also committed in Deuteronomy the blessings and the curses, and part of the curse was that no man could redeem Israel. That's why he sent his son to pay the debt. The debt is canceled. So these men, police and the military, need to be hired by our system of judges of tens, 50s, hundreds, and thousands to work to enforce our Creator's law, which is gravity, which is the seasons, which is a built-in revolution every 7 years where all debts are canceled. So all that comes to play is who's willing to go out and share the good news of the Jubilee, and what's the most effective tactics. So there's strategy on the grand scale, Jubilee, replicating Bible observant seeds which sprout up a garden, right? That's where we're planting truth seeds. We're planting a seed. What does the seed contain? All of the information to create a mustard tree, right? That's what Yah's talking about, the kingdom of heaven on earth. So to motivate people to sell it, to get conversions, you have both the carrot of incentives, right? The promises, the kingdom, the end of war, the end of carnism, the end of perpetual debt slavery, the release of our children from captivity, the end of cultural Marxism, the end of the rat race, quit your job and work for the tribe, right? The healing of the nations. A Jubilee, it's just because it's just an idea, whose time has come, just like it did before. History is prophecy. It's so easy to see once you let go of the banker show. So that's what's up. Scott Bono, what's up, brother? Getting ready to run. And so I hope that was a word of encouragement, of good news, because there's no need for any additional suffering. We can exodus this Passover. It's just an idea. And E. Michael Jones talks about how quickly consciousness occurs. It's rapid. Babylon falls in an hour. So, wargaming, nonviolent, effective, proven, historic. Oh, Robin's pulling over. I got the kids. We're meeting at the park. So anyway, life's good. Life's beautiful. The kingdom is on earth. And we can beat the bad guys quickly and have fun doing it. Easy.